Welcome back to Sunday Vibes, one and all. Yesterday was the Champions League final. Ooh, fingers crossed for a Juventus win,
Forza
gentlemen.
Juve.
Forza Juve. As you can see, there's an unusual face sat in our pub chair. It's Michael McCubbin.
Howdy.
Of Euro Football Daily fame. You may have seen him presenting some top 10s, doing some voiceovers. He's the latest member of the team and his eyebrows are a definite plus.
McSluggin.
Big plus.
Look
Look at those bad
Cheers,
boys.
guys.
Chris Hamill also joins us, but who really cares about him?
Hurtful.
You guys have been sending in your questions all week, the first of which is from Ishan Sodi, who says, what is the best defensive partnership of all time? Brackets trios included.
Go on, you boot us off, mate.
I'll boot us off, and there's only one answer. Maldini, Baresi, Costa Curta. The definition of the ultimate defence.
It's all downhill from there.
They literally defined what Italian defenders are. Italian teams were winning European Cups based on pure defensive output.
Catenaccio.
And these three players are arguably three of the greatest defenders of all time. I mean,
Maldini and Baresi didn't play together for an awfully long time, did they?
Not too long, but that slight crossover we're counting. I mean, Maldini and Baresi probably two of the best defenders in the history of the game.
Yeah.
And I think that everything since then has almost been built on how they defended and the system they laid out, like you said, Catenaccio. And I mean, even in modern times now, the likes of BBC, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
that was my answer. Barzagli, Bonucci, Chiellini, and Buffon.
Oh, yeah.
Within that, you have a legend of the game, a long-standing servant, Barzagli, who's blossomed at the end of his career. You've got Bonucci, the ball-playing centre-back. He's completed the most long passes in Serie A this season. And Chiellini, who's an absolute animal.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Italians have been trying to ruin attacking football for years, haven't they?
They have.
They've never been bought before a jury. But my God, is their defending something to behold.
But they're not the only nation that defends well. I mean, the English are pretty renowned for defending well. Well, we've had some lions in the past, mate. Come on.
In qualifiers.
In qualifiers, not the nation.
Yeah, I mean like
the
Bobby
teams.
Moore and
okay. What are you saying, Mikey?
I'd say I'd to follow on from that point. I think last 15 years, especially Premier League winning teams, we've seen some absolutely monsters of defence. I think two examples. I'd say in terms of one season, absolutely bossed it, and probably the first defence that I really watched and was like, wow, they just function so
filled you with
well.
confidence.
Unfortunately, it was for Chelsea, but Czech Terry and Carvalho was just unreal. Unreal in that first Mourinho season.
And Big Cashley was in there as well.
I don't think he was in there. He was added about a year later.
Oh, was it?
But that year was just all about those three, and I think it's a record that still stands today. They only conceded 15 league goals all season.
That's insane.
Same season they got their 95 points as well.
I thought you were going to say the likes of Vidic, Ferdinand. I'm outing you because you're a United fan, aren't you? There's two of them. Yeah. Oh, like syphilis.
Flanked.
It's a snake sandwich, mate. That's good.
But I was going to say, Vidic, Ferdinand and Van der Sar over a longer period were arguably
incredibly
better.
consistent.
They were ridiculous, and I think they then set the record for 10 clean sheets in a row, or 11 clean sheets in a row, something
that is
crazy.
Who do you guys think though? Obviously we've given our suggestions, but we've probably missed some absolute classics. So why don't you let us know, my voice went funny, in the comments below. Next question comes from Gregor Twinkie. It's an interesting
wonder what his
name.
sexual preferences are. All favourite American snacks.
Ooh.
Snap. Jinx.
He says, should Real Madrid break the bank and sign Dybala / Mbappe now, or hold off and rely on Morata developing with the decline of Karim Benzema? It's a complex question.
It is.
I'm out of breath. Provide a complex answer.
Definitely wasn't sent in on Twitter, was it?
It wasn't.
Well, it would look like Dybala's off the table, right? Because he signed a new long-term contract with Juve.
Money.
So the question is, the more pressing question is, should they splash 100 million plus on Mbappe when they already have someone like Morata, the highest scoring Spaniard in the league, a better minutes to goal ratio than Cristiano Ronaldo, a player who every top club in Europe has been linked with in the last month for 50, 60, 70 million pounds.
True.
I think they should keep him. I mean, if anything, Zidane's crowning achievement of this season has been keeping all those egos happy. We've seen the emergence of a Real Madrid B team, which have been quite frankly ridiculous. Spearheaded by the likes of James Rodriguez, Kovacic, bloody Danilo, who cost 30 million in defence, Morata. I think they should keep him. I mean, the outlay to what they already have doesn't make sense in my head. Like, why spend 100 million when you've got a young man who can already score 20 goals in the league? But then there is that whole Galacticos policy. There is that kind of getting ahead of other teams, ahead of the curve, in signing Mbappe, whose value is probably only going to soar. What do you think, the Cubs?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of inclined to agree with you there. The only thing I'd say is that Morata, like you're saying, you know, he's one of the most sought after strikers in Europe. He's probably, you know, probably one of the best strikers in the world right now. But despite that, he's just not getting the game time.
So Zidane might not have faith in him. Is that what you're saying?
I don't necessarily think that, but I think it is like you said, he's done a good job with rotating the team and whatnot. But if you look at the development of Cristiano Ronaldo, like, I mean, I don't even see Ronaldo as a wide forward at all anymore. Like, I simply see him as a goal scoring striker, and that's how he's developed his game. And you know, we've seen how he's flourished in the late season.
So you're saying it might not even be a position. Maybe
not. I mean, obviously, you know, Real Madrid have the resources to be able to hoard talent, but does Morata actually deserve what he's getting at Madrid at the moment? Because I don't realistically see next season suddenly him being ever present. Like, I just don't quite see it.
I'll play slight devil's advocate. I tend to agree with you. I would keep Morata if I could. But I'll play devil's advocate and say I would potentially sell Morata, take my 70, 80 million I'm going to get for that, and reinvest it into Mbappe, the younger striker who's going to be more commercially viable in a few years. Take him off the table so somebody like Barcelona or Manchester City or Chelsea can't sign him now. So you've got Mbappe off the table. You've got potentially probably beyond around the same sort of wages as Morata. I'm not too sure what Morata's on, but I don't think he'd be asking for massive amounts of money. And take Mbappe now before he costs 200 million when the market grows exponentially and he's suddenly the best player in the world and you've missed out on him. I think get him now, sell Morata.
One more season in his current form and you're paying an extra 30, 40 million for him.
And I think that's a big worry for Florentino Perez. But having said that, what would you guys do? Would you sell Morata? Would you keep him? Vote in the poll above my head right now.
Would you boys take Morata at United?
Yes.
Definitely.
Marvin Ambas has the next question. He says, #SundayVibes. What is the best bargain transfer this summer as a prediction? I'm going to go left field here, gentlemen. I'm not going to say a player, I'm going to say a manager. I'm going to say Thomas Tuchel. The guy is a phenomenon. An absolute phenomenon. I can't believe Arsenal missed out on him, to be honest with you. I don't think he lost at home for Borussia Dortmund in the Bundesliga. In fact, he lost 10 games in 64 in the Bundesliga.
Good stats,
Finished his first season on a record points tally. The guy's ridiculous. He has a fantastic philosophy, plays great attacking football. I think whoever ends up signing him has potentially had one of the best bits of managerial business in about the last 2 or 3 years.
If Southampton get him, that is mental.
But that's brilliant from Southampton. And it would be awesome to see.
He is far and away above a club like Southampton. But if they get him, imagine him and Roger Schmidt coming to the Premier League.
Awesome, man. I would love to see him at Southampton as well. Developing a young team, using the academy graduates coming through, signing young players on a tight budget. Be phenomenal. I'd also love to see him at Roma and a Monchi to see what those two could produce together. Because I genuinely think they could, as a team, really challenge Juventus.
There's going to be the managerial merry-go-round this summer is going to be really exciting, isn't it? You've got Spalletti. You've got Will Emery still be at PSG. You've got Roger Schmidt.
You've got Leonardo Jardim.
Will Simeone stay at Atleti?
It's absolutely incredible. But please, can you lads say players, because that's basically.
You go next.
I'll oblige. I've gone for a transfer that has already been sealed. Tielemans from Anderlecht to
great shout.
Monaco.
Great business.
Yeah, I mean, as a prediction, I think, you know, the only way is up for this guy. I mean, he is absolutely phenomenal. I mean,
18 goals, 12 assists this season,
and he's what, 18 years old still? Or is he maybe pushing 19?
Vice captain.
Yeah, it's unreal. And I mean, from a Monaco viewpoint, I mean, they've just sold Bernardo Silva for what, 60 million to Man City.
Yeah,
they've just brought in Tielemans for 18 million, and without a doubt, by the time Tielemans is the age that Bernardo Silva is now, he will be better. I mean, he'll be better than Bernardo Silva.
Tielemans is a phenomenal shot.
Their ability to regenerate in the past few years has been immense, hasn't it? And obviously Bakayoko might go to Chelsea as well. So he could be filling 2 holes there effectively.
Yeah, very versatile player.
I'll go with a transfer that's not happened yet, but someone who seems readily available, Kelechi Iheanacho. I was just talking about him on Scout Report. The guy is contributing to 0.7 goals per game when he plays. He's only played 520 minutes of Premier League football this season, and I think he has 6 goals, 3 assists.
It's incredible. He's a phenomenal player.
And West Ham, obviously, bid for him. They've bid for, most people with functioning, 10 toes, 2 legs. But if they got him, 1, great for him. Great for West Ham, sorry. 2, bad for him.
Yeah.
He'll probably suffer a long-term injury, minutes into his
debut.
debut.
And David Gold and Slaven will ruin him.
But I think like a host of top clubs should be in for this guy. Hoffenheim have been sniffing around apparently. If Aubameyang leaves Dortmund could, they could be a lot worse off than Kelechi Iheanacho to replace him.
Dortmund, since they've signed Alexander Isak in January, I'm not too sure whether that would be the move for them.
Well, the thing about Dortmund is, would they splash the cash without a manager at the helm?
RB Leipzig, an interesting shout.
RB Leipzig, obviously they've got Timo Werner. If they can hold on to Forsberg and Naby Keita, I think they're quite well stocked for attacking options. I mean, anyone should take this guy.
Yeah,
he's absolutely immense.
I'm amazed that more Premier League clubs aren't going for him. I mean, like Liverpool, United obviously would be difficult, but he's perfect.
He'd be a huge step up from Divock Origi, right?
Yeah. And also, you've got to think that Daniel Sturridge is waning big time. I don't see Daniel Sturridge being a Liverpool player.
Get him up to Celtic.
But he is readily available. There are some unbelievable bargains available this summer. So let us know what you think your best bargain is in the comments. Why not? Just do it. Type away. Chloe Ackroyd has the next one. She says, who do you think will be the goalkeeper for Man United next season if De Gea leaves for Madrid this summer? I hope he doesn't go, but I'm going to go for Gianluigi Donnarumma.
Yeah.
1 year left on his current deal. Mino Raiola is his agent and is refusing to sign a new deal. Man United can offer him massive wages. One of the best goalkeepers in Serie A. He's 18 years old. Get the deal signed, done, delivered. Yeah. He's a future superstar. Don't miss out on the next Buffon.
Raiola's already planning what other drug baron's house he can buy.
Yeah, exactly. With that thing.
With a view to this move. Go on, you go next, McCubbin. You're the Man United fan. I couldn't give less of a
First of all, big shout out to Sergio Romero, best number 2 in the world. Been absolutely fantastic this season in the Europa League. But if we're talking about a serious replacement, someone who can get to that level, Jan Oblak. I think personally, I think probably been the best goalkeeper in the world this season. So,
big Jan, hamster.
I reckon it'd be hilarious if you signed Kasper Schmeichel, as was touted about a month ago. Imagine losing De Gea and gaining Kasper Schmeichel. The look on their faces would be priceless.
Keeping it in the family. But
for the first time in about 6 weeks now, we've got a video question. This one comes from Amon D.
Would the MLS in the United States be a more entertaining league to watch and to go to if relegation was implemented?
So, gentlemen, what do we think? Would the MLS be more exciting with relegation? I think 100% yes. 150%.
Higher stakes, more emotion, ups and downs.
We've all been to the playoff games recently over the last few weeks, and they're absolutely exceptional to watch. The Championship final, I was there at Wembley, and the passion and the heart that Huddersfield showed and their supporters in the crowd was incredible. And you cannot miss out on that if you're America. People question whether the quality is good or not. The fan support over there is immense now. You see
the average attendance is solid.
It's incredible. I think you're missing out massively without it.
I mean, it happens in a lot of their sports, doesn't it? And it means that the big teams are safeguarded against a perilous financial situation. It's like baseball, like the Cleveland Browns, is it? They're worth as much as Manchester United when they're an absolute nothing team in baseball. I hope I got the name right.
Yeah, I think you did, yeah.
But so what it means is that their top sides can probably bring in better players with the promise of those secure finances.
Yeah.
So for the short term, in terms of attracting players of Gerrard's, Pirlo's, Lampard's quality and paying them massive wages, it might benefit them in that matter. But yeah, as you say, from a sporting point of view, I mean, if you're at the bottom, it's the end of the season is just a bit of a damp squib, isn't it? I'd want to put it in, and it also means that, you know, teams like Nesta's Miami, might gain a bit more of a following with the hope of, leading them to the promised lands, the holy grail of the MLS.
Indeed. I mean, I think yeah, it's just a completely different system, isn't it? And it's almost like impossible to comprehend it in the UK, where like essentially, you know, if everything went your way, you could start a Sunday League team tomorrow, and you could be playing in League Two in, you know, 20. They could be playing in League Two in 20 years' time. It's like that kind of possibility is, yeah, there's the dream there, and you know, obviously, you know, we have, you know, the FA Cup and everything, which kind of has that kind of, you know, magical element to it as well. And
really
we have
point.
stories like Leicester, you know, coming up, you know, 3 seasons ago, and then winning the league in 2 seasons as well. And that just isn't possible.
It's a really good.
In the States.
It's a really good point. I mean, soccer, as far as I know, is the biggest participation sport in the US, which is an incredible thing. But you've got to look at those kids and think, if they don't get to the right college and the right level, they're never going to play in that top tier, because it's almost impossible to get there unless they're transferred in there. And transfer systems in the MLS are obviously very, very different to what they are in the UK and in Europe. So definitely relegation's got to be in there. Hope that answers your question, Amon. We really don't know too much about the MLS though, but fingers crossed that helps. Final question of the day comes from Tom A. He says, what was the biggest Premier League disappointment this season? For me, anyone answer Man United, but you lead off.
All right. I've answered, but you lead off. I'm going to go with my hometown club, Leicester City. Obviously, immensely relieved they didn't get relegated. The first champions to be relegated since Manchester City in like the 1800s or whatever. But I was just disappointed with some of the signings we made. We were so ill-prepared to defend our crown. I say
Slimani. Somebody have a word with it.
But Slimani, 28 million. Musa, 15 million.
Yeah, dear man.
He's been dreadful.
Did score a good goal in pre-season.
We didn't sign, against Barcelona. We didn't sign adequate centre-back cover for when, you know, Wes Morgan's legs inevitably gave out, or Rob Huth decided, you know, to be suspended for a number of, you know, physical attacks on other players. But I think, yeah, recruitment was really poor in the summer. We did well to hold on to Mahrez and Vardy, but the man Kante, it took us 3 attempts to replace him as well. Mendy, not the man. And Marty, definitely not the man. And indeed, he looks to be a decent acquisition. Genk pump out the decent players, don't they? Decent prospects. But so for me, Leicester, I'd like them to have challenged for Europa League football at the very least.
What about you?
I'm actually going to go for Middlesbrough, who obviously got relegated, quite pretty poorly as well. And just because I was quite excited to see them back in the league. They you know in the kind of mid 2000s they were one of the kind of
Massimo Macaroni.
Yeah, they were quite an entertaining side, even under, you know, Steve McLaren and stuff. And obviously a big club as well, the Riverside Stadium, you know, like big rivalries with Sunderland.
Big signings
and Newcastle.
as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Victor Fisher.
Had Valdez at the back as well. Like, I mean, and they had a pretty decent defensive record for part of the season. But then, yeah, you know, Negredo and Gaston Ramirez just never, you know,
that was the thing about them,
able to score enough goals.
Aita Karanka just didn't value attack. It was so strange. They didn't even have a go. I mean, I think they were averaging less shots per game than anyone else in the league. By a significant amount. That includes the likes of Sunderland as well. But I agree. They should have done better. Yeah.
For a manager who, you know, worked at Real Madrid with, you know, with Mourinho and had, you know, had a
shades of Mourinho in there.
Perhaps, yeah. But yeah, I've got to go with Middlesbrough.
I'll wrap up with Man United then. Domestically anyway. European, great to win the Europa League. In the Cups, did really well in the League Cup, average in the FA Cup, but in the Premier League we were really poor. Didn't score anywhere near enough goals, played dreadful football at times, way too many home draws. I hated watching us at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Got to be massive, massive strides in the summer. I'm sure we're going to spend a huge amount of money on a striker, centre-back and a centre-mid, but Man United in the Premier League were an absolute disgrace this season. So that's all we've got time for on today's Sunday Vibes. Thank you to Mikey the Eyebrows McCubbin for joining us today. Christopher Hamill, as ever. You guys at home sending in all your questions. If you want to be involved next week, get your comments in right now using the hashtag Sunday Vibes. You can also hit us up on Twitter with the same hashtag. We'll catch you next week, basically. That's the end. I'm finishing there.
See ya.
Bye.
Ciao. Adios.